had noticed the change the moment she stepped off the plane. Lila looked different, lighter somehow, like she had shed a weight I hadn't even realized she was carrying. Her hair fell in soft waves over her shoulders, her smile was brighter, and there was a glint in her eyes that I hadn't seen in months. She had been away on a work trip for 2 weeks, and I had spent every day wondering how she was, missing her in ways I hadn't expected. When she arrived at the airport, I rushed forward, dropping my bags to hug her. "Lila," I exclaimed, enveloping her in my arms. "I missed you so much." She hugged me back, but something in her embrace was distant, almost hesitant. When we pulled away, her eyes met mine, and I sensed a tension that made my stomach twist. "Hey," she said softly, "it's good to be home." Her voice, usually warm and familiar, felt different, cool, controlled. I tried to shake off the unease, convincing myself she was just tired from the flight. We drove home in silence, the city lights passing by, and I kept stealing glances at her, trying to read the subtle shifts in her expression. She smiled occasionally, but it didn't reach her eyes. Once we got home, I suggested we unpack and relax, maybe share a quiet dinner. She nodded, moving through the apartment as if she were someone I barely knew. I kept looking at her, searching for the woman I had married, the partner who had been my anchor through years of ups and downs. But the more I watched, the more I felt a distance I hadn't felt before. After dinner, I tried to initiate a conversation about her trip, her meetings, the cities she had visited, the experiences she had had. She answered politely, but her enthusiasm was muted. Finally, I asked about the people she had met, hoping to see some spark of excitement. That's when she hesitated, and my heart sank, actually. "We need to talk," she said, setting her fork down carefully. "It's about US." My stomach tightened. I had a sinking feeling, a premonition I didn't want to acknowledge. "Us? What about us?" I asked cautiously. Lila took a deep breath, her hands trembling slightly as she folded them in her lap. "I've been thinking a lot while I was away," she said slowly, "and I feel like things have changed. Between us, I don't feel the same way I used to. I think maybe it's better if we just stay friends." The words hit me like a punch to the gut. I stared at her, disbelief in her warping my vision. "Friends," I repeated, my voice barely audible. "You're saying after all these years, after everything we've shared, you just want to be friends?" She nodded, her eyes brimming with unshed tears, as if she expected me to understand. "I can't force feelings I don't have anymore. I don't want to hurt you by pretending. I think we'd both be happier this way." I felt a storm of emotions, shock, betrayal, grief, but amid it all, a clarity began to emerge. I realized that this wasn't just about her feelings. It was about her trying to control the narrative, to reduce the life we had built together to something simple and painless for her, without considering the devastation it would cause me. I took a deep breath, steadying myself. I looked her in the eyes, and for the first time that evening, I spoke with calm authority. "Lila, you can't just decide what our relationship is without considering me. You can't reduce everything we've built, every memory, every struggle, every victory, to a label that suits you. We are not just friends. Not after all this." She blinked, startled by the firmness in my voice. I'm trying to be honest," she whispered. "And honesty doesn't mean cruelty," I replied. "I understand that your feelings have changed, but I also know my worth, and I know what I've invested in this relationship. You don't get to decide alone that it's over while pretending it's a minor adjustment. You can't erase the years we've lived together." Her lips parted, as if she wanted to argue, to say something, but the words caught in her throat. She hadn't expected me to push back with strength, to meet her cold detachment with conviction. I continued, my voice steady and unwavering. If you want to leave, fine, but I won't accept being downgraded, minimized, or treated as an option. Either we face this with respect and honesty, or you go. I won't sit quietly while you try to rewrite our story to fit your new desires. The silence between us stretched, heavy and suffocating. Lila's eyes flickered with a mixture of shock, guilt, and perhaps fear. She had anticipated tears, pleading, desperation, but not this. Not a firm, unshakable resolve that reflected my refusal to be diminished. I didn't mean to hurt you, she said finally, her voice barely above a whisper. You already have. I said gently but firmly. But this isn't about blame. It's about boundaries. You can't treat me as if my feelings don't matter. You can't reduce us to something convenient for you. Either you acknowledge what we've shared and handle this with honesty, or you leave. That's my reply, Lila. That's what I'm offering you. Truth, not cowardice. Her lips trembled, and she looked down, ashamed. For the first time, I saw her realize that her attempt to sidestep confrontation had failed. She had expected compliance, perhaps even relief on my part, but instead, she was met with a calm that radiated strength and self-respect. I didn't expect you to say that, she murmured, unable to meet my gaze. Good, I replied, because I'm not what you expected, and I'm not what you can control. You want a life without the complications of commitment, without the responsibility of the bond we share. Then you have to accept the consequences of walking away. But don't mistake my silence or my love for weakness. She swallowed hard, and I could see the tension leave her shoulders slightly, replaced by a grudging respect or maybe just the realization that I wasn't someone she could manipulate with half measures of honesty. We sat in silence for a long moment, the weight of our shared history hanging in the room. Finally, she spoke, her voice trembling with vulnerability. I don't know if I can do this, I nodded, understanding the complexity of emotions she was grappling with. Then take time, I said calmly. Think about what you truly want, not just what's convenient. But understand this, I won't let anyone reduce me to less than I am. That includes you. My love, my commitment, and my self-respect are not negotiable. Her eyes welled with tears, and she looked at me, finally seeing the man who had grown stronger through hurt, who had refused to crumble under betrayal. She opened her mouth to say something, but no words came. She was speechless not out of victory, but because she realized that the game she thought she was playing had ended. In that moment, I felt a surge of quiet triumph. Not because I had won her back or forced a change, but because I had reclaimed my voice, my dignity, and my power in a situation that could have broken me. I had responded with integrity, with courage, and with a refusal to be minimized. In the days that followed, Lila and I navigated the choppy waters of our relationship with honesty. She sought clarity, and I held firm to my principles. We discovered slowly whether our paths would continue together or diverge. But one thing was certain. I would never allow anyone to reduce me to a fraction of who I am. That night, as I lay awake reflecting on what had transpired, I realized something profound. Life doesn't always give us control over other people's choices, but it does give us control over our reactions. I had chosen strength, clarity, and self-respect over fear, despair, or passive acceptance. And in that choice, I discovered a deeper sense of empowerment than I had ever known. Even now, whenever I think of that evening when she tried to reduce us to friends and left me speechless, I smile quietly to myself. Not because I hurt her, but because I refused to be diminished. Because in standing firm, I found my voice, my dignity, and my peace. And in that, I realized something essential. No one can dictate your worth. Not even the person you love most.